Let's begin the session. So this is a little bit past due, but we thought that we cannot wait enough because we have released many features and many of you are actually using it. But a few of you have actually asked us for some refresher on the product and what we can do. And also we are going to talk about the future of Tali. So, okay. So today we are going to cover quite a few interesting topics. Two of my colleagues on this call, Sahar and Amir, who are our product managers, are also on the chat as well. Our CEO, Mashid, is also joined on the chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we'll try to answer them. We also have a guest user, Dominique, who is one of our beloved MP, who would share her experience of Tali with you. So today's agenda, I quickly go over our vision and roadmap, and then I start my webinar with one hot topic, and always remain hot topic, which is node accuracy. I would cover a few tips and tricks, and then I will pass it to Sahar, who would give us some workflows and recent features that we have built and released to the users. And then after Sahar, Amir would take over and would talk about the real-time billing agent and how it can help clinicians to reduce their administrative burnout. And we pass it to Dominique for our fireside chat, and then we open the floor for a Q&A. Without further ado, so I don't need to repeat the problem to you. Clinicians everywhere are experiencing the burnout that affect both their mental and physical health. A significant amount of clinician time is spent on an administrative burden, which contributes to their burnout. And we started Tali with the ambition to eliminate this burnout. Of course, this burnout has caused a lot of cost to the healthcare, and also in a few cases has caused like a not ideal or optimized health outcome to the patients. So our vision is to create an infrastructure over the data, which could be your EMR, so we can optimize multiple workflows by AI. So stay tuned as we are going to announce some major product lines such as AI inbox management in the coming months. But generally, I can talk about the history of Tali and the few features that we have released recently. So if you see on this picture, we started, we actually commercialized in May 2023 with just a simple SOAP. AI scribe, we summarize the conversation, I create a SOAP. Later on, we work on reliability and accuracy. Everyone was excited, whoever was trying Tali in the beginning. So they gave us a lot of feedback to work on reliability and accuracy. And then gradually we got more users. And then new requests came, like we want patient summary, referral letter, consult letter. In 24, we strategically invest a lot of time on integration with EMRs. I know that the state is not ideal for each EMR, but this was our vision. Oh. Sound issue, technician in the chat, you want to fix that? Okay, let me see. So someone is not hearing me, but yeah, I guess the majority of users are fine. Okay, okay. I don't think the sound is true. I think, Alien, this is on your end. Probably you need to fix your speaker or something. It seems that the rest of folks are hearing well. But if you have any issues, just let our team know. So I was saying that we strategically invested in EMR integration because we thought that getting the data from the EMR and ability to push back data to the EMR creates more accurate node and also eliminates a few clicks, and also works on the and also helps with the data integrity as well as security and privacy. In 25, we work on two major initiatives. One was template builder. So whoever is not using Tali predefined template would be able to create the template. We announced more than 100 languages. So if you visit your patients and they speak in another language, Tali now can understand and summarize all majority language are in Canada. And now in 26, we have released a few major product line. One is the ability to fill out PDF forms, from disability form to insurance form. The other one is our real-time billing agents, where Amir is going to talk about. Call patients, where you can call directly from Tali, and then we summarize the conversation, and this would replace the traditional phone. And task and appointments, where Sahar is going to talk about in a few months. So the first section, which is the most important section, is note accuracy, and this is maybe the main point of friction with your workflow. This is the core of AI Scribe. As one of our users suggested, it is our ethical responsibility to constantly improve it. So we are working on it. We have a dedicated team on note accuracy, and we are constantly improving it. But we are moving towards a vision or a direction to minimize the amount of edits you make on each note, and match its content 100% to your desired style and accuracy. So here, like, in order to understand what are the components of the system to be able to optimize it for you, I am going to tell you the four big, large components of AI Scribe. So the first one on your far left, it is audio capture. This is actually your microphone, your computer microphone, where listens to the conversation of you and the patient. After we capture that audio, we pass it to a model, a machine learning model or AI model, which is called automatic speech recognition. This model is responsible to convert the audio waveform to transcription, to text. The third step is that we get the text and we pass it to a large language model, which is similar to ChatGPT. And that large language model gets the whole transcription of the conversation and try to match to this style. It could be SOAP, it could be referral letter or patient summary, or any other style that you create, or any other template that you create. And that language model try to match the transcription to that style and produce the final note. In each of these flow, there is a chance that we introduce error and cause some inaccuracy or hallucination in the final note. So if we start with the first one, on the audio capture side, microphone quality and configuration is very important. So which microphone you use impacts the final note. A speaker position inside the room is important. I'm going to talk about each of these separately. If there is a background discussion, we have a few cases that there was an ongoing discussion with the patient, and other clinicians were talking to another patient in the background, and Tali would capture part of that discussion, which resulted in an accuracy or hallucination in the final note. So the first part, which is the most important part, is to make sure that the quality of the audio that Tali receives is very high. The second part, which is the model, the machine learning model, which converts the audio, the waveform, to transcription, has two parts, which is like fine-tuning on medical terms, and then the ability to detect multiple speakers. This is one of the areas and one of the models that we constantly try to improve, to detect like medical terms, hospital names, common names, and also be able to differentiate between multiple speakers, because there are many cases that different people join inside the room, and the AI or the machine learning model usually have hard time to identify which one is the patient, which one is the children, and so forth. The last one, or the third one, is the large language model. So we have an instruction, we have a predefined template, which is a SOAP, and then we have the option for the users to be able to instruct the model to do some customization. For example, our soap doesn't calculate BMI, but one user may want to introduce an instruction to the AI to calculate BMI if weight and height is mentioned. If this instruction contradicts with the actual template, then there is a chance that inaccuracy would be created. So if any part of this pipeline, from the audio quality to the actual large language model, fails, then as a result, you will see some errors in the output. It could be hallucinated content. Sometimes the contents from objective shows up in subjective, and sometimes the AI use layman terms because they cannot convert, for example, if the patient has a fever to a medical term. So let's begin with the first component, like audio quality, how we can optimize the audio quality. The source of AI scribe is the microphone. So usually we are dealing with multiple systems, each clinician using different computer or has different setups. And depending on the computer that they use, different microphone has different quality. So usually Apple computers, Mac Minis, and Mac Pros have a good high quality microphone. So if you are using a Mac computer, probably you don't need an external microphone. Apple devices like iPhone, iPads, they have good microphone as well. Windows computers vary. Some of them are very good, some of them struggle. So this one you need to check. Old desktop computers usually don't come with a microphone, but if they come with a microphone, usually the audio quality is not great, it's bad. And webcams, if they are like single purpose webcams, sometimes they come with a microphone, but most of the time the audio that you get from a webcam microphone is not great. So how can you sure that the microphone is functioning properly? There are a few steps that you can follow. First, you go to your exam room and sit normally where you visit your patient. Then on your computer, you can open a recording app. It could be your Mac default recording or Windows default recording app, or you can simply Google free online recording app, and then talk normally the way that you talk to the patient, and then stop and play back the recording and listen to yourself. If the audio quality is not high, there is a high chance that you need to purchase another microphone. We have articles on our website about recommended microphone. Usually they are not that expensive, so you don't need to invest like $200 to purchase like a professional microphone. Usually the price is between $30 to $50. But if you need help, always reach out to us and let us know so we can pass you that guide. The other one, again, we are in the first step, which is making sure that the audio quality is optimized. So the other thing that impacts the audio quality that is being captured by Tali is how you are positioning yourself. So there are two ways to position yourself. One way is that the computer is far from the patient and most of the time closer to the doctor or the provider. In that case, Tali would hear a higher pitch from the clinician and a very lower pitch from the patient. So ideal scenario is that the computer or the microphone itself would be in equal distance from the patient and the provider. If you don't have control over this, sometimes an external microphone with a USB cable can help. But most of the time you can position yourself in a way that that computer or the microphone hears both parties equally. Now the other part is, so the first one, audio quality, we make sure that the microphone is good, the setting in the room is good as well. And then on the voice to text model or the voice to text engine, now we are dealing with inaccuracies in medical terms or inaccuracies in the output. There are two things that we can do here. One is personal dictionary. So if you open Tali app.tali AI, and go to your setting, and then you would see personal dictionary under AI scribe. Here, you can add any term from medical term, drug names, or even a common name, such as a hospital name that you use in your AI script a lot. And then you can teach Tali how to pronounce it. For example, if I am referring many patients to UHN, I put UHN as a term, and if Tali doesn't recognize my accents because I have like Persian background, then I would put UHN as a term, and then I would start the recording and put UHN in 2 or 3 sentences. For example, I am referring my patient to UHN for MRI, or patient came to my office from UHN, and it seems that he got some like infection. And basically what happens is that we pass this term to our model, and also we use this recording which is in your accent to fine tune the voice to text engine. This improves the quality of the medical terms if Tali cannot pick it up. We are working constantly on it. So internal evaluation, we are above 95% accuracy. But if you think that there is a term that needs a little bit boosting, as they call it, you can always go to your personal dictionary and boost it here. There is another feature which can help with the accuracy. So if you are happy with the quality of the notes, you don't need to change this one. But if you are doing some complex, for example, visits that multiple parties are involved and usually Tali cannot pick up all of the details, you can go to model intelligence. We have 2 options. One is faster, which is the default one and creates the notes very fast. The other one is smarter. It is 4 to 8 seconds slower, but invest more time on the transcription to be able to detect the complexity of the visits. So now I covered the second component. So the first component was audio quality, microphone, how to sit in the room. The second one was the engine that transcribes voice to text. And the third part is how to customize the large language model, which summarizes your template. So here, if you're happy with the default, so default referral letter, consult letter, or default, for example, diabetes template that we have, then you don't need to touch anything. But if you want to customize it, as an example that I told you, for example, adding BMI to the template, you can always go to template and then find the template that you use. For example, SOAP is here. And then we have recently released a feature that you can chat with the AI to tell that how do you like your template would look like, what to include and what to exclude. For example, some clinician wants their assessment and plan to be merged. I'm going to instruct AI to merge assessment and plan on their A and P. Now AI takes this instruction and take the template and would try to update template. And you will see your note preview right here after a few seconds, and you will see if the actual instruction has been addressed. So as you can see, this was my command, and now AI merged all those things. So assessment was major depressive disorder, and then plans comes after it. And you can do other things. For example, BMI, include BMI in objective if weight and height is mentioned. Again, very similar instruction that you give to a medical student or to your assistant, how to draft a note. You can treat our clinical AI assistant as your assistant, and then it would take that concept and help you to customize the note. And as you can see, now the note is customized. If you switch to template, if you are a little bit more tech savvy, you can actually see how we are instructing the AI, and you can actually change something. So if I want to put subjective here instead of S, I can add it. And then if I press sync review, I would see it on the note preview section. So far, we covered audio quality. We covered how to minimize the gaps in voice-to-text engine, and we show you how to customize your subnodes. Hopefully, end-to-end, doing all of these correctly would minimize your pipeline. Again, on our roadmap, we constantly improve. It is our ethical responsibility to improve our accuracy. But there are a few things, especially on the audio quality. If you make sure that it is being set up properly, the less chance that you have that AI hallucinates or create some jargons that you didn't mention in the visit. And lastly, one thing that we use internally, we call it reinforcing. And it would be a same verbal communication with your, for example, medical student, assistant, or even children. So like this is a comment that like when was the last time that I say something, for example, to my child that he followed everything correctly. So even with any like intelligent system, including AI, we need to get benefit from some reinforcement. So similar to medical resident or an assistant or your children, we can remind the AI about the important piece of conversation or give it a summary so it follows your instruction better. So here are some tips. So when you are doing the visit, I know that sometimes it feels not natural, but try to stay clinical decisions very loud. So I'm prescribing this medication for Y reason. Whenever you do that, be very prescriptive and very direct to the AI. AI would be able to capture it much better. Sometimes you would benefit from closing the conversation with a summary. So to summarize, the plan is X, and I am going to follow up in, for example, 3 weeks. And verbalize negatives. Also say that patient denies chest pain. If you don't mention it, it would be hard for the AI to deduce that information. And some other tips. So in order to reduce your cognitive load, it would be good to review the note while it's finished and then actually do it very fast. You can always use resume or a smart edit function to correct the AI. And that function is here. Let me go to one of the notes that I have. So with this smart edit, you can use this microphone or write to the AI and, for example, instruct the AI, remove all of the objectives from subjective section and put it under objective, or remove all of the lab results, for example, from the subjective. And if a note is still not in high quality, always send us a feedback because we match this feedback to your note, and our data scientists would go and see what was wrong and would try to actually optimize the output for you. Cool. So to recap, microphone and audio quality is the most important part. Make sure that customization is optimized by the AI, and try treating the AI as your assistant and offer verbal hints to it. Okay, so this was the first part of the product tour. I am going to pass this to Sahar, who is going to talk about appointment, additional context, clinical decision support, and a few other more patients. And the idea was that we want to cover more use cases and more workflows. So Sahar is going to showcase like how other workflows are actually being optimized. Okay, Sahar, pass it.
Thank you so much. Sharing my screen. Fantastic. So at the core of the new features that Hesam mentioned is the understanding that healthcare does not happen in isolated visits. Every encounter sits within a broader clinical context and timeline. What has happened before the visit, what needs attention during the visit, and what are the follow-ups and tasks needed after the visit. So the recent feature that we have released recognize and enable this continuity, and that is the walkthrough that I'll share with you today. I also want to highlight that for the interest of time, I will keep this very high level, and then we'll also share articles for each of these features for detailed instructions after the webinar. So it all starts with appointments. We know that most physicians prepare appointments ahead of time, whether that's early in the morning or during the day in chunks. So with Tali's appointments, that's exactly what you're able to do. So I'm able to see my appointments of the day and any other days that I've added. And then I'm also able to add context. So in this case, I've added the reason for the visit, which is severe headache of the patient. I'm able to add any context needed ahead of time and prepare for that appointment. And then I'm also able to start the visit and the encounter directly from appointment. So we also recognize that the context of the visit often goes beyond the conversation. And the additional context feature here is exactly to enable that. So as a physician, I'm able to add any additional context in text, whether that's an observation during the visit that I don't want to verbalize or anything else that I want to add. I'm also able to add any documents to that encounter. Now that can be lab results, imaging, PDF, or image documents. To just show that, I'll add a blood work for this case. The documentation also is part of the visit itself, where during the visit, the physician is able to choose the templates to make sure that the right notes are generated. So in this case, I do want to also have a referral to refer the patient to a neurologist because of their issue. And I'm also able to choose forms. And anterior requisition, I'll just demo that for you. For the forms, another thing that you're able to do is to actually preview the form during the visit, which allows for a guided conversation. You know exactly what the form requires to be able to capture more complete context, reduce misinformation, and all of this also supports the more complete form auto-population by Tali. For the sake of this demo, I'm also just going to, because the transcript is not going to be relevant, I'm just going to drop something in the additional context to help with the note generation. We also recognize that physicians very often need to look for clarification or additional context without breaking the workflow. So the medical search enables that exactly, and I'm going to just drop a question there. So in this case, I want to prescribe Advil for this patient, but I do want to make sure that it doesn't interact with the medications they're already taking. So with that, the physician is able to ask questions from reliable sources during the visit without having to move outside of Tali and break that flow. So when everything is set, all the context has been added and I'm ready, I will finish the visit and move to the note generation, where I can see the documents and the notes and also the forms that have been generated. Additionally, recognizing that care continues after the visit, you can also access tasks generated based on the context of the conversation and the visit. With the task, you are able to review the tasks, edit them based on their title and different categories. And you're also able to approve or delete. So all of the tasks that are approved are then added to the tasks library, where here you can organize them by category or date, and then continue to process them based on your workflow. Perfect. So what I demoed was suitable for an in-person visit. Now, we recognize that up to 50% of physicians' visits are telehealth and particularly phone visits. So it would only make sense to have the same workflow for these phone visits. This would allow for continuity of the workflow as well as avoiding hacking and using multiple devices, which is what we've seen a lot of physicians do, and also avoiding the need to put the patient on the speaker in case that you're working from home, the car, or anywhere else where patient privacy prevents you from wanting to do that. So from the appointments, you can also use the call a patient feature to call patient directly inside Tali. And here you're able to set up caller ID. So prior to setting up caller ID, Tali uses a default caller ID. The patient will see the caller ID of care provider. You're able to set up the caller ID here, whether that's by text or call. And then I'm going to call myself to test this and demo this for you.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice messaging
Perfect.
system.
So as you can see,
770-10995 is
it will show the state of the call, whether it's connected or disconnected afterwards. You're able to mute, hang up, and then you're able to call again if the call has dropped or if you need to make another call. You're also able to, similar to a regular workflow, you're able to add the templates and forms as needed, as well as additional context here. And then again, similar to a regular encounter, you're able to finish when you're ready or you're able to discard. I know Michael also brought this up in the chat of separating, being able to hang up and generate the notes separately. So that actually has been added as of last week, where now the user is able to hang up the phone and then see if they want to make any changes to the forms or the templates and add additional context before they press finish to move to a note generation. Perfect. So again, I think at the core of these features is recognizing and enabling the continuity and having a more coherent workflow. Hesam, back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sahar. So I guess these are the very recent features or workflows that we have released. As always, if you have any comment or request, please send us an email and we will prioritize for you because we want to close that feedback loop much faster. And so next we will have Amir, one of our product managers, who would discuss about, who would show you the real-time billing agents. Amir, do you want me to share a screen or do you want to?
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amir, as mentioned. Very excited to talk to you about this real-time billing agent today. If you go to the next slide, Hesam, just to quickly reiterate the problem space that we are trying to address is the complexity and time consuming nature of billing. I don't need to explain this to you, how time consuming this is. We have we have huge documents of schedules of benefit that relate to any specific specialty for family physicians and others, and rules update very frequently. In Ontario, we just saw a rules revision that is the great example of this from FO to FO Plus. People who are on FO and have switched to FO Plus know about this burden. And of course, finding the right code is not necessarily just about knowing what code to bill at that moment. Even if you know what code pertains to the visit, for example, a smoking cessation follow-up is a good example. You need to actually be able to go back and historically look at the patient and check if certain codes have been built in the past. For example, you have an initial session in the past 12 months, and you haven't met the window-specific limits of that certain code. In this case, you can only bill K039 twice in a 12-month window. That takes a lot of time. And of course, when we add in-person versus phone calls, after hours, holidays, that makes it even more complicated. If you go to the next slide, the solution that Tali has created, the real-time billing agent, is basically trying to address all parts of the billing lifecycle in a practice. So at the very beginning, we actually automatically check for the validity of the health card to avoid expiry of health cards in the future. Then, as you are doing your visit, we synthesize the information and analyze the visit and capture the patient history for the patient that's in the room and check the billing history eligibility criteria. As you can see on the screen, we have examples of Q040 have been checked for the last 12 months. And to be able to do that, we actually integrate with your MScN account and retrieve patient billing history to be able to do that. Of course, we have been approved by the Ministry of Health of Ontario, for example, to act as a billing agent to be able to handle that type of information and retrieve the billing history to be able to offer all of this capabilities. From there, you can continue to use your submission process within your EMR, or you can use Tali's own direct submission to OHIP capability, which lets you submit to OHIP directly. At the end of the month, the Monsters RA report actually comes back, and what Tali can do is to synthesize all of that information and make it readable, easy to access, and interactively usable, showing you all the rejections, all the reasons behind the rejections, and enabling you to better fix those rejected claims. I can do a quick demo of this as well, but Hesam, I think we might benefit from going to the next sections of the call as well.
Yeah, I guess a quick demo wouldn't harm.
Okay,
So
I'll
let's do that
just
quickly.
very quickly demo. I'll share my screen. Okay, so you know Tali, this is the primary interface of Tali. This account that I'm showing you is connected to MScN, and the first thing that you can see is that a list of patients has been retrieved from MScN on this account. So you actually know which patient you're providing the care for, enabling the historical background check and billing history check for that patient. What immediately happens if you choose a patient here is the check for the validity of the health card, as I explained earlier. Of course, if any claim is submitted for this patient as is, all of them will be rejected. In addition to that, the modality of the visit is something that implies what billing codes apply to a visit, and you can easily select all of them here. I'll jump into a historical visit that I've done. The recording experience, the note generation, all is very, it's the same as you've already seen in Sahar's demo. But after the note is generated, we have this billing component here, which takes me to the bottom of the page, showing all these different billing code recommendations. So for this visit, this was a diabetic patient, and this code, as you can see, checks that the relevant code of K030 has not been billed in the last 12 months, or the look-back window that is relevant to that code, so you can be sure that the code is actually eligible. Also, this visit that I've done happened after hours, so after hour codes apply to it as well. You can quickly add these codes to your note if you want to keep track of them in your EMR and in your chart and continue to use whatever submission process you have in place. So that's one way of using them. The other way would be to use to directly submit from Tali, which is actually this accept button. In this example, I have accepted these two codes, and if I go to claims, I can see that there is this billing claims page, and this patient, the claims have already been queued up for me. I can review, give them a last check, and submit them to OHIP. Of course, nothing happens automatically without my supervision. I'm in control. I can change the diagnostic code. I can decide to change any of these factors here. And one last thing that I'll show you is the reconciliation or RA report page. So after the monthly RA comes back, I can see all of my claims, what their status was, what was the detail. I can quickly look at the patient information about that claim, and I can look at the claims that were rejected, look on the reasons for rejections. I can see why that rejection happened, and a very quick a very quick description on how best to fix that rejection. So the idea is to close the loop of the entire life cycle of billing. I'll stop here. We will definitely do more of these webinars. We might even do one specifically about billing, because there's a lot of details and a lot of exciting stuff that we are offering in Tali. For now, I'll pass it to Hesam.
Okay, thanks, Amir. As you can see, like Tali is moving towards that vision of enabling different small agents on top of your data. Like one could be billing, what could be appointment, what could be telehealth, to optimize those workflow and reduce all of the administrative burden. And as I said, very soon we would announce more modules which are all connected together. So the idea is that if you are making a call from Tali, automatically we introduce, for example, a virtual visit billing code, or automatically we create tasks related to that call. All of these things, once they are connected together, it significantly improves the workflow that you are having on a day-to-day basis. Okay, now it's time for the last part of our webinar. We invited Dominique. Dominique, I'm going to pass to you. Just make it like a introduction. Where do you work at, and then we can continue.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a nurse practitioner and I'm based here in Toronto. And I work part-time at a clinic just north of the city, and it's actually a community health center. And so that clinic sees patients that typically have more barriers to care and lower resources. So they typically come in with more complex presentations. And I work there part-time, and then I see patients that are rostered to the clinic. So whether they have a family doctor or a nurse practitioner as their primary care provider. And so the nature of my role is if the family provider or nurse practitioner is away, busy, can't be seen, then the patients can kind of come and see me. So, some acute same-day issues, some medication refills, some forms that need to be submitted, a little bit of everything.
Okay, that's great. Can you tell us how was your clinical experience before starting an AI scribe?
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to think about what those days were like, and I don't want to. But using an AI scribe has been a complete game changer. Before, a patient comes in, automatically I'm turning to the computer and trying to type and capture everything they're saying. So not really looking at them, or maybe turning my head every once in a while, and just frantically typing and thinking about what they're saying. And then also at the same time, thinking of questions I should be asking and next steps to wrap the appointment up as well. So, yeah.
And do you share the same experience? Like a few of our providers were telling us that after using Tali, practicing medicine has become more fun.
Yeah, it definitely has. That would be, and I might be answering a question ahead, but one of the biggest game changers is that, it's not me versus the time. I can sit there, enjoy my appointment, and, save a couple minutes when it comes to notes and not feel rushed if someone's bringing up another concern. And who knows, sometimes those extra minutes I'm able to use to catch up with patients or see how their day's going. So definitely more of that fun, less of that rush.
Okay. And do you have any favorite feature on Tali?
Yeah, good question. I was enjoying the presentation. I was reminded about the personal dictionary, actually. So that was fun. I've been using the task manager, and I really appreciate that feature. As I mentioned, it's just the type of patients we see. They're kind of a bit complex due to their situations. So they often come in once a while with a long list. And, we're all humans. Sometimes things get forgotten, but it's really nice to have that feature to go back and even if nothing has been missed, just to have that validation and say, okay, yeah, I feel good about this appointment. I can move on to the next one. And then the other feature too with the other aspect of the feature with the tasks is if let's say, I'm not able to complete all my tasks and I have to move on to the next appointment, then at the end of the day, I can go back and see, okay, what did I forget to do? And be able to complete it then.
Okay, okay, that's great. And if you want to, for example, refer one of your colleagues to an AI scribe, how would you present that idea to your colleague?
Good question. I'd probably say you're spending a lot of time typing when you wouldn't have to be.
Right. Okay.
You know what? It wasn't a hard sell. When I joined the clinic, a couple nurse practitioners joined at the same time as me. And I just kind of went in and showed them my screen, and instantly they said, how do I get this? Can you help me sign up? As you mentioned, there's lots of different ways that the administrative burden kind of builds up, and notes is definitely a bigger part of them. So if we can remove one of those busy tasks, then it just helps improve the day for sure.
Okay, okay, that's great. Thank you so much. And thanks for accepting the invite to join the webinar. I always tell my friends who are mostly engineers, like as an engineer working at Tali is actually very fruitful. Like the moment that we see that you, like healthcare frontline providers are happy with the product, it is actually very fulfilling. So, and we don't get to actually bring this impact as an engineer. So, we really appreciate your work and we are super happy that actually we can help you to deliver.
Right. Well, thanks for having me and thanks for building Tally.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I guess we have a few more minutes. I am going to pass this to the audience. If you have any question, just feel free to ask. If you don't, in order to reach us, you can always send email at product@tally. But feel free to ask your question. We would be able to answer it live on the chat. Oh, there was like I can't answer the last question. Is it mandatory to review the script to confirm its accuracy? Yes, I guess you have seen it also in the news that accuracy of notes is very important. As I said, it is our mandate to improve it day over day, but you guys need to finalize the note and you are responsible for the actual accuracy of the final note. So please review it and then edit it, and then you can actually copy it to the EMR, because then it becomes the source of truth.
I've also started adding, after I put in my soap notes, say like Tally utilized, reviewed, just as a reminder for myself as well.
Perfect. Yeah, that's actually a very good suggestion. And Munir asked like if we have lab requisition. We do actually have it. So if you look at our form library, you would be able to find the lab requisition and you would be able to fill it out by voice. So Amani asked that if I have already task and billing in my EMR, why should I use Tally? So two questions, two totally different answers. Sahar, do you want to answer task, and Amir, do you want to answer billing?
So for task, the core of the feature is to enable task generation based on the encounter and based on the context of the visit. Now we are looking into potentially adding tasks to the notes to be able to move those to the EMR to, again, enhance that continuity. Hesam, anything you want to add?
No, just one thing that some of the providers move between room and room, and they will say that I am always behind my schedule. So this task is a good reminder whenever they have time, they would go back to Tally history and pick up those tasks and make sure that it's either copied into their EMR or they actually perform those tasks and make sure that the form is completed. Amir, do you want to cover the
A few people actually asked in the chat to see the task again. Would that be possible, Sahar, to quickly show the task
Yeah, for sure.
capability? Yeah.
Give me 1 second. Perfect. So I'm going to start again from the view within the note. So this is when a note is generated after a visit. This is where you are able to find AI-generated tasks. And again, as mentioned, you're able to edit them, change the categories, change the title, and so on and so forth. And then you're able to, if for whatever reason is irrelevant to you, you can delete and you can also approve it. I'll explain quickly what that does. You're also able to create new tasks for any reason. If you're seeing any task or if you want any task associated with that visit that you're not seeing here, you can add a manual task as well. So all of the tasks that are approved will then also get added. So they're always there within the context of the encounter, but they also get added to your library of tasks. So what I'm hearing from some of our users is that at the end of the day, they want to go through all of the orders. So you're able to work through the tasks based on your workflow by categories or by date or by encounter, however it suits you.
Do you want to address why billing is better than the
Yes,
EMR billing?
yes,
Yeah.
that's a great question that I would like to talk about. So, how you do billing in your EMR is practically a function within the EMR that enables you to do the action of billing or submitting your claims manually. A great analogy would be how you would write down or use legacy dictation software to write down your charts. What Tali does is this billing agent is an actual intelligence layer that is on top of your existing AI scribe program that you have. It's proactive. So before you even give Tali any input, it will synthesize the information and recommend billing codes. Many clinicians tell us that because they don't have the time to learn about all the possible different billing codes, or they don't have the time to do the historical cross-referencing that I referred to earlier, they just default to 5 or 10 codes, which means a lot of money is left on the table. So the idea here is one part automation, yes, to save time, but the other part is to actually surface those under billing opportunities and ultimately increase the revenue of the practice.
Great, thank you. I am going from top to bottom. So Flora asked that if all features work better if Tally is embedded in EMR. For majority of the cases, yes. So if you launch Tally from the EMR, especially if you have enabled the integration, then we would have access to the context of that patient and it saves a lot of clicks. So billing is automated, the patient context is automated, and with one click, you can push back data to the EMR, which ensures the data integrity. Next question is that, so this is Akash. The question is for billing. Is it possible to generate diagnostic code, like ICD code without enabling MCDT? At this time, no, you should enable it MCDT because the most value that you get is actually from premium code. But we may release that feature that introduced like partial recommendation. In order to have a very accurate result, it is highly recommended to connect Tally to MCDT. Michael said that he hasn't enabled integration into Akuro. We have an integration. So Michael, probably you need to reach out to help@tally.ai and they would enable the integration, and then you would be able to launch Tali from Akuro 2. Aaron asked if is it better to use Chrome extension or for web app? No, Chrome browser for web app, or does it matter? Yes, Chrome is the optimized browser, but if you are using Windows, you can use Microsoft Edge. We are quite functional on Safari and Firefox, but Chrome is the one that is highly tested. So Rafal asked, how do I put provider name instead of phone number as a caller ID? So the default caller ID is like your practitioner. We have this feature for alpha releases. We haven't announced it to all of the users, but you don't have access to it now, but you will be able to access it to it very soon. So next question by Karen. Do the tasks generated go into the note at all, or is it a separate part of Tali? So it's a separate part of Tali, but we have requests from many users to have a button to actually include it inside the note. So you would be able to copy paste it into your EMR, or if you are integrated, you can actually send the integration. Oh, I noticed Sahar is answering a few of this question. So Amani asked, when can I start using this billing feature in Oscar Pro? Just send us an email, Amani, to product@Tali.ai, and we would collaborate with you.
Hesam, I want to add something here.
Okay.
Because it pertains to integration in the earlier integration question as well. So for billing specifically, we did talk about integrating with your billing history, but we didn't mean integrating with your EMR. What happens is that because Tali is a approved billing agent by the Ministry of Health, we actually get integrated into your MScDT account directly to the Ministry of Health. So that means that integration with EMR, although can help improve the workflow, it's not required for that billing function to work.
Okay. We are at time. Thanks again, Dominique, for joining the call. I really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully, we will invite you more to the sessions and get help from your experience. And thanks everyone for joining the call. All of your questions were great. Remember, if you had a product feedback or a question about the product, you can always send us email. Everyone on this call would receive those email, product@tali.ai. If you have some troubleshooting or request for one-on-one meeting, you can actually send an email to help@Tali.ai. Thanks, everyone. Have a very great evening. Bye.
A great evening.